Actually, I say inflation, bring it on. Is
Yeah.
inflation is actually a good thing if you know how to structure deals properly. So, in order to talk about that, let's take a step back. It's not the real estate that makes you rich. It's how you structure the deal that makes you rich.
Without Fear of Her Future podcast is for women who are passionately pursuing financial freedom using multiple streams of income and real estate to accomplish their goals. We're here to empower you to be brave, dream big, and design a life that you love. I'm your co host, Teresa Todd, founder of the Women's Real Estate Investors Network and author of the book Without Fear of Her Future.
And I'm Melissa Baker, real estate investor and fitness coach, specializing in turning properties from drab to fab. I'm here to help motivate and inspire you to build your dream life because, girl, you deserve it. Today, we have a special guest who's not just navigating the intricate world of real estate, but is here to break it down for all of us in a way that's both fascinating and accessible. Joining us is the insightful Jordan Cooper, a seasoned real estate investor with a knack for turning complex concepts into relatable, everyday wisdom. Jordan is here to share the secrets of structuring partnerships, demystifying the world of private money lending, and guide us through the art of balancing financial strategies. Get ready to embark on a real estate journey with a guide who knows how to make it both exciting and understandable. Without further ado, let's welcome the one and only Jordan Cooper.
Woohoo!
Welcome.
Welcome, Jordan.
Thank you,
Hello,
ladies. Thank
Jordan.
you. Thank you. Pleasure being on y'all's podcast and looking forward to this.
Well, we are too. I know our listeners are. So, Jordan, just personally, we know you. You have not only been in real estate, but you've been a business partner on deals with us. And of course, Rain Coach, we are so excited about. You are our finance coach. So, before I jump into real estate, I don't know if you know this, but do you know that you are the most crushed on coach that we have?
No, but uh,
She had to say it.
I
The
appreciate it.
ladies love you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Oh,
I love them too.
but when we talk, I know you do. I know you do. You're changing their lives, and we are so glad and honored to have you as a coach at the Women's Real Estate Investors Network. But when we talk about being a finance coach, what does that even mean?
So really, it's looking at the numbers and understanding how how a deal is put together. That's really what we're looking at when we talk with the ladies and any deal that we look at. I like to say numbers don't lie, people do. So if you understand your numbers, right, you understand the deal and you understand the potential profit, but you also understand where the potential pitfalls might lie, play, little landmines and stuff like that. So it's more than just the financing. It's the financing, it's the capital structure, it's profit centers and how you split all that up. And I know we'll probably dive deep into some of those topics as we
Yes. Yes.
continue to talk.
We really do want to dive into that. But before we do that, Jordan, can you tell us just a little bit about what you were doing before Rain?
Sure, sure. So before I joined uh, y'all is I was doing high-rise hotels of all things. So I was helping
Oh.
develop, finance, and put together these deals around the country. Before that, I was actually doing something kind of similar, is doing them with prisons as well. I was also traveling around the entire world, working on embassies. So, and that included development for everything I'm talking about, development, the financing, the construction, um, dealing with lenders, dealing with equity investors. So understanding how really big deals are put together, and then transitioned, came over and started working with the Todds and started doing a. We had a loan business for some time, and then I started coaching with y'all as well, all the while continuing to do my own deals as well as we continue to move forward.
Yes. So anybody listening, I think you can tell. Jordan is absolutely brilliant when it comes to numbers
Yeah.
and structuring and partnering. And I still run a lot of my deals by Jordan. If
For
he
sure.
says don't do it, I'm like, okay, or vice versa. Because he just has such a deep understanding of all the little details that are, really easy to miss. So again, I personally believe that we have the best coaches in the world at the Women's Real Estate Investors Network. And just want to say again how honored we are to have you. And you are the one that's, run it. These ladies have the opportunity to run their deals by you, be coached by you. You help them with the details or say, hey, don't do this, or show them how they could make more money on a deal, or how there's a potential of, losing money on the deal. And I know that it means a lot to me, but also, I mean, what you're doing for our ladies is absolutely incredible.
No, the honor is mine.
Yeah, I completely agree.
Thank you.
Yeah, our ladies absolutely love you. And because, especially in this economy, weighing the ups and downs, you take the time to really guide them to look at both sides of the coin before diving in. I think I've heard it said, you're one good deal away from changing your life, or not. Talk to us a little bit about this.
Yeah. Everyone says you're one good deal from changing your life, and I kind of turn it on its head, and I say, well, you're also one good deal from ruining your life. So what does
Absolutely.
that really mean is not understanding what you're doing. So we all have decisions to make, right? And we all, get very excited about the upsides and what this can do. However, we need to first take a step back and ask, hey, what what do I not know? And
Mm,
being brave enough to actually ask the
mm,
questions, right? As I like to say too, is hey, I'd rather be dumb for a moment or perceive to be dumb. There's no dumb question, first of all, but perceive, because that's in my own mind,
mm-hmm.
perceive to be dumb, ask the question, then be, quote, dumb the rest of my life, right? So ask the
Right.
So
questions
good.
and
Yeah.
move forward.
Yeah. Well, obviously, we are, there's inflation going on right now in our country. So, how can real estate investors navigate that storm, especially when their incomes seem stuck in neutral right now? So, what are you saying right now about real estate with this inflation?
Right. So actually, I say inflation, bring it on.
Yeah.
Inflation is actually a good thing if you know how to structure deals properly. So, in order to talk about that, let's take a step back. It's not the real estate that makes you rich. It's how you structure the deal that makes you rich.
Mm,
So if you can properly structure the deal, you can pass the effect of inflation on to others. So it's having different mindsets and understanding, hey, I've got these forces that are working perceivably against me, i.e., the inflation, which is what everyone's talking about right now. Well, instead of asking, how do I run away from inflation? How do I actually benefit from inflation? And one of the biggest things that you can do is use strategic debt. Notice I'm saying strategic debt, not any type of debt, but strategic debt, and understanding how much debt can go on to an asset, and then how much equity do I need to bring on top of that to make it a safer deal with reserves with that. So that's kind of the high level of what we look at and how to make inflation work to our advantages using strategic debt. There's also compound growth that we can go into as well.
yeah. And we'll talk a little bit about that, but yeah, I agree. There's a saying that say more. Well, I don't think it's a saying. I think it's a truth. More millionaires are created during recession than any other time. And that if you know exactly what you're talking about right now, we can take advantage of this inflation and become pretty wealthy. Or we can just be scared to do anything. And that's what happens to so many. They just start hearing about it and they're frozen and they're scared and they do nothing. And boy, that's when inflation will drag you down really quick.
Absolutely.
Okay. So when someone's thinking, considering real estate investing, before they just dive in, what kind of financial homework should one do? Just kind of thinking of preparing for this ultimate adventure. What's on your checklist?
So one, every single person has something to offer. Is let's take your grandbabies. You just had a bunch of grandbabies that were welcomed in this into this world with what? Pure love, and not
Yeah.
expecting anything in return. So those grandbabies that you have are bringing you something, right? Now,
Yes.
the same exact thing that you and the listeners and everyone else needs to understand is you are bringing someone something, right? And also there's
Oh,
an exchange. So know that you're loved, first of all. So that's the first piece of homework. We beat ourselves up way too much, right? We're our own
yes.
worst critic. So that's number one is the mindset. And I know y'all talk about mindset all the time on y'all's podcasts and in the trainings and everything. That's number one is getting your mind right and understanding, hey, you are loved, love yourself as well. Second thing is talking about what other things that you can offer. You have something to offer, whether it be on the monetary side, monetary meaning money, or the non-monetary. So take an inventory of the things that you can bring. Let me give you an example. So on the monetary side, it could be upfront capital, it could be ongoing capital. On the non-monetary side, it could be your time, it could be being a loan guarantor. So let's say you have a W-2 job, you're probably going to be in a better situation to get a loan than probably us, right? We don't have typically W-2 jobs and stuff like that. So you have that to bring to the table. Domain experts, right? That's why you're getting training and stuff like that to be the expert in this domain. Then a deal finder. You have time to go out there and knock on doors and find deals and stuff like that where other people their time is limited. So you do have time, you have money, you have credit, what we talked about. um, you can organize things. So just take an inventory of what you have to offer.
Yeah. Maybe they have the
I
ability
love.
to close the deals and negotiate or
Absolutely,
have the conversations. Yeah, I love that.
absolutely. Yep, yep. Perfect, perfect. So
I
that
love
would be the
that.
first piece of homework. And then understanding your journey and embracing that journey that you're on, and yeah, move forward, take action. So don't be afraid.
So
Yes.
I love that. Going along the lines of everybody has something to offer, everybody brings something to the table. Let's talk for a minute about partnerships. And you really help our ladies structure their partnerships to be like the perfect dance where everyone leaves happy. So let's talk for a minute. Tell us about your views and your take on partnerships.
Yeah, yeah. So partnerships. So number one is ask yourself when you're looking at being a partner, is it fair and equitable to all parties concerned? So what does that really mean? So let's say, Melissa, you and I are going to get in a deal. If I'm going to offer you terms, right? Well, if the roles were reversed, would I take those same terms? Right? And it's not
Yeah,
taking advantage of anyone, because I guarantee you, if it's a deal that's properly structured, every single person should be a winner. There should be no losers in
right.
this, right?
I love it.
Is is every single person should win. So going back to what we should do, you got to understand one, what we talked about the homework is doing an inventory of what you can offer, then breaking down and saying, hey, how do I structure this appropriately? And we look at debt and equity. All right, do I need debt, and how much debt can that asset afford versus how much equity do I need to go raise? Now, equity, let's talk about the difference between those two as we continue to move forward, is every deal can only afford so much debt. Debt is an obligation, right? And what we say is if you're a private money lender, you're going to have lien rights. If you're getting financing from a bank, they're going to have lien rights. So you are obligated to pay a rate, interest rate. Then the rest of it is equity. You need to raise equity. So you're splitting profits. So, and in that, and splitting those profits, it's a partnership. You can do a JV, joint venture agreement with that partner. You can do, and JVs, I use this analogy all the time too, is JVs are like dating. All right. So before you go into and get married, I would assume you want to date a little bit. So don't go and set up these LLCs and stuff like that with someone.
Mm-hmm.
Date a little bit. Set up a JV, because a JV is one, you do that one deal. If it works out, okay, do another one. Do a couple of them together, and then okay, we decide we like working with each other. Then form that partnership. But we need to figure out also how much how much can each deal afford for each person. So it comes back to the numbers side, unfortunately. And I know a lot of people are afraid of numbers, but embrace the numbers and understanding how to calculate returns for everyone. And I know we talk about numbers all the time on coaching calls with the ladies, and more than happy to dive in. But I know it's really hard to follow numbers on a podcast, so it's up to y'all if we want to go down that road or not.
Yeah, we don't have to go down that, but yeah, it's so awesome that our ladies have somebody like you, because especially when you're just brand new, it can be so intimidating, and especially if you're not good at math. But you know, thank God that we have you to walk them through it, help them to understand it. And I love everything that you said. Do your homework, know the other person, just doing a few deals together before you
Date
decide.
a little.
Yeah, I love that analogy. Love
Yeah,
it.
it is so good. So real estate investing is about making real money, not just going through the motions. So Jordan, what are some tricks or tips for those looking to really make their mark in real estate?
Yeah, so really it comes down to safety. All right, is we mentioned earlier is most people look at the upside. Well, you need to understand the downside first and how to protect that downside. And if you can protect the downside, the upside will take care of itself. And that's how you get started. So you earn the right to make money. But in order to earn the right, you have to have protection. So protection, security, and then abundance. So protect your assets first. We all work way, way too hard for the money that we make, right?
Yeah,
The
Mm-hmm.
last
for
thing we want
sure.
to do is
Yeah,
what? Lose it.
Lose it.
So
Yeah.
that's right.
understanding the risk on all this and where that comes from is the proper reserves. How much reserves do you really need? And then also having a risk mitigation table. What is that? Is just have a list, and it's have a fun night with your friends, and just spitball what ifs, right? And it doesn't have to be extensive, but it's the what ifs, and have a plan of, if this happens, I will do
Mm-hmm.
this. If this happens, I will do that. So that you're not reactive, you're being proactive. And that's the biggest thing in any investment, is be proactive instead of reactive, because
Mm-hmm.
what happens when a deal goes south? And a deal will go south. I promise y'all, right? We all
Yep.
make mistakes. If you're not making a mistake, guess what? You're not doing anything. So
I
embrace
agree.
those mistakes, but make those mistakes small and learn from those mistakes and learn from others as well. So again, protect your money first, with reserves, risk mitigation, proper insurance, and the right team behind you.
Ooh,
Yeah,
that's fire
it's
right
great
there.
advice.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you mentioned reserves. Obviously,
Yep.
are not just for emergencies. How can you use reserves to keep everyone's boat afloat in a real estate partnership?
Yeah, that's a really good question. Really good question. So reserves can be used for a lot of things. So you'll hear you'll hear a lot of people say, "Well, money in the bank, you're losing money if it's just sitting in the bank." I disagree with that, and here's why. So, and let me rephrase what they should be saying, in my opinion, is too too little of money is bad, and too much money in the bank is bad. You have to have the right balance,
Mm-hmm.
and that comes into reserves. So we need to cover our operating expenses in any deal, and our own personal living expenses, as well as debt service. So let's just look at an individual deal. You have operating expenses, right? You have taxes, you have insurance, you have management, you have maintenance, you have utilities, you have repairs, right? You have all those operating expenses. In addition, you have, if you put debt on it, which we talked about inflation, of how to beat inflation, one of them is using strategic debt. You have debt service, which is a mortgage, right? Principal and interest. So that's where reserves comes in. Let's take a even step further. What happened right when COVID started? We had these moratoriums, and then renters were told, "Hey, you don't have to pay your rent." Well, guess what?
Mm-hmm.
What are you as an investor going to do? Are you going to stop paying your rent?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
No, because those that did, good luck on trying to get mortgages, right? It's a
Yeah.
big
Yeah.
no-no. So those that had the proper reserves could continue to pay that rent for at least the next six to 12 months, while renters said, "Well, I was told I don't have to do it," right?
Mm-hmm.
So they were able to protect themselves so that they could continue to invest and continue to take advantage of current situations. So in addition to reserves of money in the bank, is it promotes financing. When was the last time you went to a bank and you had $0 in the bank and they said, "I'll give you all the money that you want"?
Yeah.
Never,
Yeah.
right? So if you have money promotes more money, right?
Absolutely.
So having the proper amount of reserves in an account promotes more funding, which what promotes more deals, which then promotes more money in the bank, and it's the cycle. So
Yes.
So,
so
with that, Jordan, let me just ask you this for some of the new investors that are going to be listening. Outside of COVID, under normal situations, how many months of reserves? I mean, I know that lenders sometimes require you to have, X amount of months.
On a
What's your,
rental or
yeah?
yeah.
Well, if you're looking to invest, yeah, in a buy and hold, you're going to be renting the property. How many months of reserves is safe?
yeah, so I like to say start out with 6 months. Now, what is that? So we said 6 months of what? 6 months of operating expenses, which is we said taxes, insurance, management, maintenance, utilities, repairs, in addition to your mortgage payments, which is called debt service. So you have 6 months of operating expenses, you have 6 months of debt service. And then all the cash flow that you receive from that go up to 12 months. That is that's putting you in a safer position for the what ifs, because we don't know
Right.
what's going to happen. No one has the crystal ball, right? That's going to tell us what's
Mm-hmm.
going to happen tomorrow. If we did, we'd all be, name a number, right? So
Yeah.
minimum 6 months, work yourself up to 12 months, in my opinion.
Jordan, let's talk about something that our listeners love to understand a little bit better. We always call it OPM, other people's money. So, what is the real scoop on OPM? How does it contribute to the financial puzzle of real estate investing?
Yeah, so OPM, other people's money, is just that, is is borrowing other people's. Now, you can borrow with terms, meaning you have interest rate and you have a time period, or you can borrow with equity, and that's partnering up with someone. So let's start with the debt side, which is terms. So OPM, why would you want to do that? So industry right now, and it changes, but right now you'll hear 12% interest and 3 points. Well, why would I do that when I could go to a bank and get maybe a lower rate? Well, let's let's think about this. Time is money, correct? So we have to ask ourselves, it's or remind yourself that it's not what it costs you, it's what it makes you. So the easier the money to get, the higher the rate's going to be. However, that will probably be the lowest cost to you in the long run. Why? Because if you're with a bank, it's going to take time to close, right? If you call an OPM, a private lender, is they can probably close within a week, 2 weeks max, to where you go to a hard money lender or a bank, they're going to go have to get an appraisal. They're going to do more paperwork, more due diligence. They're pulling credits, so on and so forth. So it's taking a longer process. Same thing with draw request. What is a draw request? So when you're in construction and you're the borrower, is let's say I'm borrowing money from y'all. What happens is I will do a draw request. How fast can you give me that draw back, that request? So again, time is money. So so that's why I'm saying it might be the cheapest money that you actually
Mm-hmm.
borrow is at 12% interest and 3 points. Putting the right structure together that we've talked about, right? Capital stack, and then the rest go get an equity, right? And give a fair return to your partner and understanding, hey, we're going to share in the upside. We're also unfortunately going to have to share it in the downside. So it's mutual beneficial for us to work together to solve the problems. And let's talk about that real quick. Problems are going to arise. So how fast can you make a decision to move forward? Because again, time is money. Remember, you have a lender that you're paying interest on, and that continues to the time's ticking. So OPM is great, right? We can do deals with none of our own money if we know how to structure deals appropriately.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the biggest thing with OPM. Figure out how much debt I need to put on it, then how much do I need to go raise? Now with raising money, it you earn the right to raise capital, right? So, and why do I say that? Is because not any single person should be going and raising capital. You need to have a little education so that you understand how to protect your not only your money but your investors' money. Because repeat clients are the biggest thing,
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
right? And if you treat someone right, you give them a fair return. I almost promise
They're going
you,
to keep.
y'all be partners for life.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. Absolutely. And of course, when we talk about OPM, it's typically short-term loans.
Yep.
Typically 6 months, but under 12 months most of the time. Sometimes a 2 year, but right. Don't get
Yes.
into this 12% and three at for 15 years.
Right, right. And yeah, just like what you said, is also the turning on money, right?
Yeah,
Is if I do a 6 month deal, so 12% interest and 3 points, what is that? 12%, let's say it's a loan for $100,000. We'll take 12% divided by 12 months, that's $1,000 per month that I have to pay in interest only. And then 3 points is I'm paying 3% on the $100,000. And that's usually done up front,
Yeah.
typically. And what happens is, hey, I understand that there's an obligation to pay, but again, it's probably going to be the cheapest money that you borrow when you say that.
absolutely. Yeah. So in borrowing money, typically you're going to need some points down,
Hmm.
and so you're going to pay the interest for the duration of that, while you have that money, but they're bringing all the other money to the table. And if you're in a position where you literally have no money, then it's best you don't have points or interest. You can still do it. You just need to partner with them instead of using what we would really call OPM. It would be more of a partnership. You would pretty
Correct.
much split the deal.
Right.
So that's the beautiful thing. Where there's a will, there's a way in this industry. And I so agree with you. Always make sure that everybody's winning. If you're only looking out for yourself, you're going to earn yourself a reputation, and it's going to be harder and harder to find somebody that wants to partner with you or loan you money.
Yeah, absolutely. You're being short sighted. right? You're looking,
Mm-hmm.
you know, just in front of your hand. You're not looking in the future and stuff like that, because like we said, is a partner for life. Imagine that I borrow money from you, well, and I treat you right. I almost guarantee you're going to have more money. You're not going to give me all your money, right? But also, let's think about this: is I treat you right. I guarantee you're going to tell Melissa, then you're going
Yeah.
to tell
Right.
other
Yeah.
friends, and it's the network effect, right?
Yes, absolutely.
So treat
Yeah.
Yeah.
people right.
Takes us to that
Yes.
golden rule of doing unto others,
Yep.
right?
A-
It
Yep.
always pays.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
So real estate investing, it can be really risky, and I love that you're cautious, Jordan, and teaching our ladies how to be cautious in their deals and really go through the deals to make sure that it's a win-win for everyone. But it's not always sunshine and rainbows. So what is your secret sauce for handling unexpected hiccups in your deals?
Yeah. So you're absolutely correct. Is it's not always sunshine and rainbows. Sometimes we have to get our hands dirty. Um, but embrace that, right? That's part of the process. Also, part of the process is making mistakes. Is I've said it before, is, and I'll say it again, is you will make mistakes. I promise you, right? Is, and I'll hold my hand up. I make mistakes
Yeah.
almost
Yeah.
every
Yep,
day,
for
right?
sure.
Yeah.
We all make mistakes. Anyone that says they don't make mistakes, again, they are not doing anything. They're sitting on the sidelines, watching other people and critiquing other people instead of
Mm-hmm.
actually getting their hands dirty and doing the work and changing their lives, right?
Yeah.
So, so with that is, it goes back to reserves. I know I'm a
Mm-hmm.
broken record with the reserves, and I'm fine with that, right? Because that's my
Uh-huh.
biggest thing, is having the proper reserves, having the proper risk mitigation, having the proper insurance, and having the proper team behind you. And when I say team as well, it's the proper coaches and the people that you're listening to. So are you listening to people on YouTube and people that really don't know what they're talking about, or are you listening to people that are actually doing stuff? Because there's no worse advice than bad advice.
Yep.
And just think about that. There's a saying, it's no enemy is worse than bad advice.
Ooh,
So think about that.
It's good.
No enemy is worse than bad advice,
yeah.
and you don't even know it, right? Is
That's
I'll, I'll
right.
take I'll take an example, and I know Teresa, you and I have kind of talked about it too, and I'll share this with your listeners. Is I got really bad advice when I first got into this industry, and I lost almost $80,000
Mm.
by doing a deal because I had a coach that said it was a good deal. Well, come to find out, you know, it was bad advice, obviously. So getting bad advice costs
Yeah.
dearly. And for
Yeah.
most people, right, they would have shut down, right? And I'm sharing
Yes.
this because you lean into it. You lean
Absolutely.
in and you say, you know what? I'm going to figure this out, and I'm going to persevere, and I'm going to move forward, right? And don't say woe is me, and it's not
I
their fault.
agree.
It's not their fault. It was my fault, right? I take
Well,
full responsibility, and that's what I want to share with your listeners, is take responsibility for your actions.
oh, I
And
love that.
again,
Mm-hmm.
go ahead.
Yeah, yeah, because there's it's all about mindset, because we are going to fail and we're going to eventually lose something, and we can either be angry, we can get bitter, we can go, "Oh, it doesn't work," or "Oh my," and throw our hands up and miss out on all the ups that you could have made and all the money that you could have created, because you, or you could just press through and go, "Okay, that was a tough loss. How am I going to bounce back from this and keep going and get better advice?" Kelton always says the only thing worse than bad advice is trusted bad advice.
Absolutely.
So, and we're all going to get some bad advice. And, but, we've all given some bad advice probably. So, yeah, again, I think we started out with mindset. I think we're ending with
Yeah.
mindset. When it comes to real estate investing or any kind of entrepreneurship, mindset, we always say a 60% of it and 40% of it is the specialized knowledge, because you got to be willing to go through the downs to get to the tops.
There's so many lessons in those downs, right? We learn
Absolutely.
so much.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's unfortunately sometimes a roller coaster, but as long as your roller coaster is going in the up trajectory, you're okay, right?
Absolutely.
You're gonna get, nicked and get some
Yep.
bruises and stuff like that, and that's actually some of the fun part, to be honest with you. Because think about it, we go out to dinner and stuff like that, and what are we talking about, right? It's not
That's
the
right. The
it's
hard
not the
times
it's
that,
the hard times, and we laugh
yeah.
about it. At the time, yeah,
Yep.
we want to cry,
Yep.
but at the end of the day, we laugh about it
Yep.
and share the stories, because
Yep.
that's life, right? That's
Absolutely.
our life journey. So, and embrace the journey.
Yeah.
So
I
I love
love it. I love it. Oh, Jordan, this was so good. We're going to bring it to an end with asking you what's one piece of advice that you would give if someone's listening, they haven't jumped into this yet. What piece of advice would you give them?
yeah, so we've talked about a lot of things today, and I know numbers are scary, but everyone, and we started with understanding, hey, what do we have to offer? Maybe your forte is not numbers, and that's okay, right? Find someone that's good at that. Again, we
Mhm.
all have something to offer. You don't
Yes.
have to be good at everything. We all know I'm not good at a lot of things, right? But I'm going to ask, right? Ask for advice. I'm going to ask for help. And that's what I encourage everyone to do, is ask, is just ask for help. And I guarantee you, people want to help you. We want to help you.
Absolutely. Yes.
So good.
Yes. Well, thank you,
Yes,
Jordan,
thank
for your
you.
expertise. Again, thank you for how you are helping our women find financial success and recognize the bad deal and the good deal.
Absolutely. No, I appreciate
Yeah.
y'all's time, and thank y'all for having me.
You bet. You bet. Well, if you are interested in learning more about how you could invest in real estate and you're ready to take charge of your financial future, join our masterclass now. I want you to imagine waking up each morning confident in your family's financial security. Everyday women just like you and I are turning real estate into life changing profits. With a near perfect rating and over 150,000 women's lives transformed through the masterclass, this is your golden ticket to rapid financial freedom. So dare to dream bigger and seize control of your future. Click the link in the episode description to register for the next masterclass and embark on a transformative journey today.
Thank you for joining us today. On behalf of the Women's Real Estate Investors Network and Teresa Todd, I'm Melissa Baker, encouraging you to be brave and dream big.